Hello, everybody, and welcome to part two of Local to Global TNA Wrestling 2001. Now, what I'm going to do here is something I did in the previous episode, but had to get cut out because you couldn't see any of this stuff. The roster page, any of the stats. So I'm going over what their attributes are, what their status is, what their skills are, and talking about what I'm going to do with them, which I did record. You couldn't see any of it. So I figured instead of trying to cobble together, save the audio, and do something with the graphics, I figured why not just come back and do it here? So, because essentially it's going to be mostly what I said before. So that's what I'm going to do now. So we're going to start with Abyss. I hope it doesn't take very long, but we're going to try it. Abyss is one of those characters where if you watch TNA wrestling, he was a big boy. He was 6'6", and he was a menacing guy. He was in the heavyweight division, although he was normally booked to lose. Because whenever he brought out thumbtacks, that was his big specialty. He'd bring out a bag of thumbtacks, he'd put it down, and he'd go to put his opponent through it. But he went through it like every time. And it was kind of hard to take him seriously after a while. He did win the world championship by disqualification against Sting, of all people. Because Sting is such a hothead. He's prone to get disqualified. That was a bad match. I remember that match. Genesis, I think 2006. Not a not a good match. He only had it for a month too. That's why Sting won it at Bound for Glory and then immediately lost it to Abyss by disqualification. But I digress. Uh, One of the things I plan on using him for is definitely his menace, his charisma. He definitely has presence. He's not a good talker, which is why I have a manager with him. Yeah, since he can't talk, we're bringing in a guy who can. He's got good charisma, way better microphone, pretty good acting. So we're going to pop back up. AJ Styles is by far probably one of the most well-known TNA guys ever, except maybe Jeff Jarrett. His skills, he's a phenomenal high flyer. He's got great kind of all-around basics. His worst is power. Popularity, 5 across the board everywhere outside of America, 10 across the board everywhere in America except where we're based out of, which is Florida. Some of the guys I used ended up being the wrong heel face alignment. So yeah, I'm flipping him face because that was what I had in mind, and then I forgot about it when I was dealing with all that. And Abyss was a face. I'm turning him into a heel because that's the way it's supposed to be. Uh, Up next is Alexis Lurie, who was a wrestler. Now, when I was going over, hiring all the female workers, I was talking about how I wanted women wrestlers who could actually have a decent match. So when I hired the 4 of them, it's like, yeah, they can have an okay match. Then it's not all gonna be like early 2000s women's matches where it was less about putting on a good match and more about eye candy and sex appeal and whatnot. Well, unfortunately for me, I need to do that. But Alexis literally has that, and you might wonder why do I have to do that. I'm going to pop back out here, go to product. Can you see it? Yes. Right down here. Each show will need at least one match aimed as eye candy. So what does that mean? Women need to be on the screen and do things that they probably don't want to do. Which is why Alexis Lurie, out of the 4 women I hired, Alexis Lurie is the only one that will do an eye candy match. They could put on a decent match, more of a high flying one. Bad psychology, but what? She's only been in the business for 2 years. That's to kind of be expected. As I mentioned before, the other 3 will not participate in those types of matches. So I did go out, and where is it here? Make a couple of offers to a couple of other people. So Kira, I mean, she's got okay. I shouldn't say okay. She got bad stats, but her eye candy, her sex appeal is at 80, so she's being hired. She is a rookie, so she will get better over time. Same thing for Lacey. She's also a rookie. She actually can put on a little bit better of a match. 80, Summer, just god awful primary stats over here for wrestling. Not even good physical fundamental stuff, but they have an 80 in sex appeal and 70 in charisma. So they're getting hired to wrestle, and it's going to be horrible, but that's what I got to do. So now we move on to Amazing Red, and when I hired him, as you can see, he's in the ET division with enhancement talent. When I hired him, I said he was going to be an underneath guy, that he was going to be the guy who loses a lot of matches. Why? Because he is just, I mean, look at his skills. He has no charisma. He has no microphone ability, no acting ability. Uh, he really can only do one type of match, which is high flying. He can do a little technical stuff. And he's got okay physical and fundamental stuff. But he is not a guy where I think in 5 years his charisma is going to go up to be something where I can actually use him as a talker. So he's purely here for matches. So he's just going to be an underneath guy whose whole purpose is to lose. Now we move on to Beth Phoenix. Beth Phoenix is one of the four original women that I hired to be in the women's division, and she's got good fundamentals all around. Her 90 resilience is pretty damn good. If you go down to her performance, she is a rookie, and she's starting off pretty good. 60 charisma, 40 microphone isn't great, but 70 star quality, 45 acting, 75 sex appeal, and 40 menace. Chris Hero, when I hired him, great technical, good fundamentals, and he's got pretty okay performance all across the board. The menace is what's horrible, but he's good on the microphone. He's got charisma, and he can act, and he's a good wrestler. He's got a 60 psychology, which will help with doing stuff on the fly in the ring, and he's only 22. So he's definitely going to be a guy where in 4 or 5 years he will get way better. So he is definitely a guy where I put him in the heavyweight division because I can see him being a really good staple of the world championship scene at this point. Maybe not at this point, but eventually I think he can get up there within like a year or two. But then again, we're just running one show a month, so it might take a minute. Chris Sabin, 19-year-old wrestler. I put him in the X division. He is kind of good all-around technical style. He can do some high-flying stuff. He's got charisma, at least a little bit, but he's horrible on the mic. He's got good physical, but then again, he's only been in the business for a year. He's not real well known, so he's going to be more of an underneath guy in the X division. But for now, I think he's got some potential, so we'll just have to wait and see. Now, Christopher Daniels is probably one of the older wrestlers I have on my show. He's 30. He's been doing this for 8 years, and if you look at his stats, he's got a 70 in tech, 70 in aerial and flashiness, which is good for high-flying matches. He's got pretty good psychology at 65. His fundamentals and physicals are great. He can talk, he's got charisma, and he can act. So he's kind of got a perfect thing going on here. He's definitely going to be involved in the division. I mean, I have him with the title right now. Now, here's the thing that I'm going to bring up now. At this point in the local to global, I have a couple of things as of right now turned off. Enable left off show complaints. I turned that off for now because this is a rinky-dink little promotion as of now. So doing this isn't going to be that worthwhile because I do not understand why that would be on for a company that has just started. Because it's like, oh, I'm not on a show for a company that is that nobody that isn't on TV, doesn't have much merchandising, doesn't have much of anything. Now, as we get bigger, I'm going to turn some of these on. That's one of them. Mandatory event and TV pre-booking and bonuses. That'll all get turned on when I get the TV. But it doesn't make much sense to have him on now. So there's Christopher Daniels. And there's CM Punk, just one of the most famous wrestlers in the last, 10 years. Yeah, he was just kind of sitting there. Nobody had hired him. He is, I think it says up here, he is champion for the IWA Mid-South, and he is the SDW television champion. So he's doing work in a bunch of other promotions, and then we're there. So we are the least of his concerns right now. Yes, he is in the X division. I don't want to put him in the World Heavyweight title right away, because if you look at his popularity isn't bad, but where we are, it's a 4. He's got a couple bips everywhere else, Mexico, Canada, British Isles. I just don't know if now is the time for it. Now we move on to Colt Cabana, who I brought in for the tag division. But now we get on to one half of the NWA World Tag Team Champions that I crowned on the last show. The main reason why I hired him is because, not necessarily because of his stats. He can't talk, and he can't really wrestle outside of brawling, which is a 55 and technical. He can't do any of the high flying stuff. He's got good psychology, he's got good physical, and I have him teaming with Simon Diamond, who is kind of the opposite. Not as good brawling, but he can do technical. He's got good psychology. He can talk for the group, and he's got good physical. And the main reason why I did that was because each one of them has tag team specialist. Both him and C.W. Anderson. Yep, so that's why I brought C.W. and Simon Diamond in. They're good tag team wrestlers, so I put them in a tag team together. He's actually got a very good gimmick. He's an enforcer, kind of like Arn Anderson. And Simon Diamond has a pretty good gimmick, Arrogant. They're both heels. They're considered major stars, both of them. And they're both happy. Well, they should be. I gave one of the most prestigious tag team titles on them in their first tag match. Don't ask questions. Frankie Kazarian, 23 years old. He's been here for a while. He hasn't been used yet. He's got very good technical and good high flying skills, aerial and flashiness. He's got star quality. He's got charisma. His microphone's a little down there, but he's got good fundamentals, and he's still pretty young. As of now, he is in the tag team division. I don't remember who his tag team partner is. No, I do now. It's Michael Shane. He's got good fundamental and physical. He's got a 75 in charisma, a 65 in microphone. He can talk. He can work. And he can work well, 55 in technical and 65 in high flying. Oh, and I just realized I never went over Colt Cabana's tag team partner. So without further ado, say hi to Shark Boy. Yeah, this is one of the things where I had two heel teams and one face team. I was like, I need to go out and find two heels that I think could actually, two faces that I think could actually be put in a team and do halfway decent. And sure enough, that was Colt Cabana and Shark Boy. So Shark Boy has his own match. It's 35%. If you look at his popularity, it is actually surprisingly high for Shark Boy. And if you look at his skills, he's got good fundamentals and physical. He's got good charisma, and he's all right on the microphone, which kind of surprises me. Jamie Dundee, he was just kind of one of the guys I found lying around, mainly because he had a 70 psychology. And I was like, oh, that'll be perfect as an underneath guy. He can wrestle all right. He's got good physicals. His legs, as you can tell, are orange, so they're kind of shot. He can't really talk all that well. Attributes: he's a drinker, he's a scumbag, and he's 100% a heel. But I brought him in primarily to be a underneath guy in the X division. So we have two guys, essentially Amazing Red and Jamie Dundee are underneath guys. Their whole duty is to lose. To not hurt anybody else. Of course, we are going to have matches where, the guys I want to build up are going to have to fight each other, and we're going to have to see what we can do about that. But as of now, Jamie Dundee is going to be an underneath guy in the X division, as well as Amazing Red. Although Amazing Red, I'm just going to have to fight everybody. Plucky little underdog. He's only 5'6", and he's just going to get killed all the time. Jason Cross is a guy where if you watch TNA, I think he showed up every now and then. I remember him for Victory Road 2004, where he showed up in that 20-man gauntlet at the start. He has got phenomenal high flying. He's okay technically. He's got I shouldn't say no charisma. He's got no microphone skills, but he's got charisma. His physicals are all right. Him and his tag team partner ranked somewhat highly. Now, you might ask, who's his tag team partner? His tag team partner is Paul London. And if you've watched wrestling, Paul London is a name you should recognize. If you don't, I'd be surprised you're watching this. But Paul London is a 5'10" guy. He's been around for a long time. And he's a good high flyer. He's got really good high flying. 80-80, good physical, okay on the microphone, good charisma, good star quality, good sex appeal, which I'm kind of surprised by. So this is my high-flying group. You got Paul London and Jason Cross. This should be a pretty good face team to take on C.W. Anderson and Simon Diamond. That's where my mind's at. Jazz, we move on to the third woman that I hired. She is more, I want to say famous. Yeah, she's at 20. She's one of the more famous people we got. Everywhere else, aside from Canada's at 10. Canada's at 15. Her skills, she's got pretty good fundamentals and physicals, good brawling, good technical, good psychology, good charisma. Not so great on the microphone, but she looks intimidating, and that's definitely something I want to have in the division. She's currently the World Women's Champion, and I'm hoping they don't take that away from her, so she continues to like build up her reign. She's based in Kanto, Japan, because that's where most of her wrestling is in AJW, which is, I think, a women's Japanese wrestling league. Jeff Jarrett, I talked about him at the beginning. That's what I'm playing as. I put the title on myself like a true heel. As I said before, good skills, good stats, good psychology, pretty much good everything. Very popular. This is going to help a lot of the match ratings. Kind of a boon. Most people, when they do this, they start out with a guy who's at like 0 across the board and bad stats or something. But I'm going with the premise of the thing, which is Jeff Jarrett did not like the McMahon family, and the McMahon family did not like Jeff Jarrett. He's held up Vince McMahon for money, and he got it. And then when Vince McMahon bought WCW in real life, he fired Jeff Jarrett on air. And I find it hard to believe that, Shane takes over WCW and he'd be just back in the fold. Or maybe it would have happened. I just don't think it would be. But instead, I'm going to have Jeff Jarrett making his own promotion. So now Jerry Jarrett, his dad, I brought in as a road agent. He's got 70 psychology, 100 experience, 75 basics, good business skill, and good booking skill. So he's definitely going to be very, very useful for what we're going to do. Now we move on to Loki. As you can tell, phenomenal fundamentals and physicals, phenomenal stats, 60 brawling, 70 technical, 70 aerial, 75 flashiness, 70 puroresu, which is Japanese hard-hitting style. Psychology is a 55, which isn't great. He's only got an 18 experience, and he's got really low respect. Nope, that's someone else. Maiko Satomura is a 22-year-old female Japanese wrestler that I went and picked up because good technical, good charisma. She can't speak a lick of English, but good fundamentals and physicals. So in my mind, she was going, and she's only 22. So in my mind, this is kind of like the company babyface who would like work her way up to fight Jazz. Like that was what I was thinking. Alexis Lurie would, no, that's Amazing Red. Alexis Lurie would kind of do the same thing, but would end up losing. And then Mako would come in and actually win it. Michael Modest, he is not staying for very long. If you look at his contract, it is going to expire in a couple of weeks. And you might be wondering, well, why? Well, it's because he suffered a herniated spinal disc. And he is out until May of next year. Like, he's out for a long time. This is not something I need on my roster, so he's going away, which sucks. I actually had somewhat high hopes for him. He's a good technical wrestler. He's got good fundamentals and skills. I was actually looking forward to him. He was going to be a guy in my... I put him in the enhancement talent because he's going to leave. But originally, I had him in my heavyweight division because he was such a good technical wrestler, and it was going to be him and Jarrett wrestling for a while because they could run off of that technical skill, you know. But then he broke his neck, man. I don't know what else to tell you. So he's gone. He won't be coming back. Michael Shane, we already covered. Mickey J was a free agent referee who's out there. He had a 75 in refereeing, which was the highest by far. Mikey Henderson is here. He hasn't been used yet because is set to debut the Blue Chipper gimmick. He's a Blue Chipper, but he's been around for 4 years. Make that make sense. He's in the X division. Good technical, okay high flying. You know, you take the both of them together. Good physical, great sex appeal. I'm actually kind of surprised by that too. Charisma and microphone aren't what I would like them to be, but I'm hoping they come up. And yeah, he's a guy where I look at and think, hey, he's a marketing dream. He's better as a babyface. He's going to be ripped. He wants to be famous. He is going to be a guy in my mind where he's going to be in the same boat as AJ Styles. Like, you could have them as rivaling faces, where they're trying to be able to fight Christopher Daniels. They're putting on good matches, so on and so forth. Definitely a guy I have high hopes for, but we'll see if we're even going to be able to keep him around, especially since someone might want to come by and snap him up. Same thing goes for Monty Brown. Monty Brown is sitting at a 15 all across the board. He's got phenomenal star quality, phenomenal charisma, phenomenal menace, His basics and selling aren't great, but he's only been in the business for a year, and he is 31, but everything else is pretty stellar. Good brawling, no psychology, no technical, no high flying, no hardcore, kind of basic, but if you ever watched Monty Brown, you knew that this guy was good. He had it. Should have been TNA or NWA World Heavyweight Champion, but he ended up having to retire. We were talking about Paul London. Ray Gonzalez is a guy who I think can speak passable English. Yes, so he can do some stuff. I have him in the heavyweight division. He's a good all arounder. He's got good charisma, good on the microphone, good fundamentals and physical. He can brawl. He can do some technical stuff, and he's got good psychology. And he's really over in Puerto Rico. Big Puerto Rican star. We can actually play that up when we're booking him. It's like, hey, big guy in Puerto Rico. He is their world champion. He is currently the WWC Universal Heavyweight Champion. WWC is World Wrestling Council. That's the promotion based out of Puerto Rico at the time. Definitely something where we can play that up, and I am going to play that up because I've got the next month all booked up already. My pre-booking, you'll see that when we get to the booking, when we actually get there. But for now, I have high hopes for him. I just hope he doesn't get signed to an exclusive deal. I'm only paying him $20 a show, so I'm hoping I have him for a while. Then we move on to Scotty Riggs. I have him in the heavyweight division, and he's got good psychology. He's got okay physical up all around. He's got okay charisma. Can't really talk as well, and he's kind of just all around. He's going to be in the heavyweight division. He's got okay popularity everywhere. Attributes. He's a marketing nightmare, though. He also does drugs. But we'll just have to wait and see. Number 1, Sanjay Dutt. Sanjay Dutt, if you watch TNA, when he was around, he was a good wrestler, good high flyer. He's got good fundamentals and physicals. He's got great charisma. His microphone isn't where I'd want it to be, but I can make deal with that. And then we move on to the final member of the roster, John Cena. His original name was called the Prototype, as you can tell, but this is John Cena. While I'm here, I could probably change that. I was stunned. He was there. Why? Well, look at his stats. His brawling is good for starting out. Technical is okay. But his performance is phenomenal. His star quality is through the roof. He can talk. And he looks good when he's doing it. Acting is good. Sex appeal is good. Menace is good. His fundamentals outside of basics and selling and athleticism, phenomenal. All in blue, which you don't see very often on some of these guys. But he is definitely a guy in my mind where as long as he doesn't get signed anywhere, which I'm thinking he's going to get signed somewhere, we can make him into something good for the company. He's a marketing dream. He's an amazing babyface. He's amazing as a heel, but he's better as a babyface. Bodybuilder, driven, golden mane, healing factor, higher pain threshold. He is loyal. When under an ongoing contract, the worker is more inclined to stay for a long time rather than seek out new challenges. Maybe that'll help, but we'll just have to wait and see. He is Midas touched, so this could last for a while or pretty short. So I'm going to see if I can make use of it. He has modeling experience? I didn't know that. We are now at a point where we've covered all of that. Storyline-wise, I have made a couple of them. King of the Mountain, which is just Jeff Jarrett, essentially his reign of terror. If you know what that is, in WWE, the reign of terror in WWE is when Triple H was the World Heavyweight Champion. He held the title for 2 years, with a little breaks in between, but he had it for a while. Jeff Jarrett kind of did the same thing, and I'm going to do that here, mainly because he's just the biggest star in the promotion, so why wouldn't you want to put the title on him, and why wouldn't you want him on every show, and why wouldn't you want to do X, Y, and Z? The makings of a monster, we're putting Abyss and James Mitchell into something here, and we're going to have him slowly being built up, and we're going to use the storyline to help with that. Then we just have the divisions, the tag team division, the women's division, and the X division are all kind of on their own thing. I got to add some more people to all of these, by the way, but for right now, that's just what they're at. They're all extremely hot. We only need 2 of them to be hot or above, so I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty basic ones. There's really only 2 actual one actual storyline, and the other one is just, hey, Jeff Jarrett's just going on a tear. Jerry Jarrett has awful booking chemistry when booked alongside James Mitchell. That's going to be kind of a problem, considering they're on the booking team together. Let me out. So we're going to skip to the end of the month, and we're going to see what goes on, if anything comes up. I do have to sign those women first, and I think I talked about each one of them. And I'm going to continue. Yeah, there we go. Oh, what's going on with Edge? Edge argument. Rumors are emerging from the WWF locker room suggesting that Edge and Jeff Hardy had an enormous bust-up last night, with their heated argument being the talk of the backstage area. Huh. Okay, cool. So they're already getting bad at each other. How do you get a swollen head? So now everyone is hired. I'm actually going to go put them into the divisions that there's the division that they're supposed to. I'm going to put the show on the board, and then we're going to go over it together. So I will see you at that point. All right, and now we're back. I have gone through and I have made the booking sheet. But before we do that, we did get some mail. So Carly Colon had a badly herniated spinal disc. Why? This is the second guy in as many months that has had a spinal disc injury. Jazz is back from AJW. C.W. Anderson and Simon Diamond both signed one-night deals with NWA Wildside. Which, does that mean they wrestled? Oh, yep, there they go. C.W. Anderson, Simon Diamond, and a guy named Tony Stradlin beat Aaron Paris, Adam Jacob, and Rick Michaels. So they didn't defend their titles, but they were wrestling on another show. And of course, Michael Modest is gone now. It will be time to go over the booking show. Before we do that, I have begun to upgrade the merchandise, the marketing. I'm doing it on the conservative one because that is the cheapest option. Conservative is the cheapest option long term. It's just going to take a while, but that's fine because we're not running a lot of shows. So that'll work out well in the long run. We are going to start off the show in a pre-show bout. Had good heat, or good wrestling, but little heat. Alexis Lurie defeated Lacey in 6 minutes by pinfall with a tornado DDT. I'm actually kind of surprised that this match did as well as it did. Honestly, just honest to God, I did not expect this. Considering it is just an eye candy match, like, if you look at it, yeah, it's just eye candy. So, alright, cool, they can put on a halfway decent match. For how big our crowd is right now, for how big our company is, that's a really high rating for us. Oh, there we go. In a great 6-minute angle, we saw Christopher Daniels do character development, talking about himself, putting himself over, putting down everybody else, putting himself over, and then he gets interrupted by John Cena, who then came out and essentially ran him down, challenged him to a match. We head over to the next one. We have Colt Cabana versus Shark Boy and the Machine Guns in a match that had good wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd. The Machine Guns defeated Cabana and Shark Boy in about 10 minutes when Michael Shane pinned Colt Cabana with a diving elbow drop. So yeah, they had pretty good in-ring all around. Ironically enough, Frankie Kazarian was the worst in-ring performer. But if you look at their gimmick ratings, the face team, Cabana and Shark Boy, adequate and awful respectively. Bampy, they did not like Shark Boy's gimmick. But the heel team, Frankie Kazarian and Michael Shane, had great reaction from the crowd, so that's good. Now we're going to have a 4-minute segment where you have James Mitchell, you have Amazing Red in the ring. James Mitchell tells him to leave, forfeit the match, and spare himself from what's about to happen. And when Amazing Red doesn't leave, it ends with Abyss just kicking the hell out of him. And yeah, they have a bad match because it's not meant to be a great match. It's just meant to. Put him over. A 35? How did Amazing Red have that bad? Oh, brawling. Yeah, which is fine, because Amazing Red isn't a brawler. We head over to here. Jeff Jarrett cuts a promo talking about how great the title is, how important it is, putting over his match, 63. Very good. AJ Styles versus Low Ki. Low Ki defeated AJ Styles after using a foreign object. He did it while the ref's back was turned, and he gets the pinfall for it. Simon Diamond and C.W. Anderson come out, and they cut a promo talking about how great they are as a tag team. They recently just came around. They've wrestled at a couple of promotions by this point. Literally just two, but kayfabe, brother. And they're talking about how they will be the best tag team that the NWA has seen in quite some time. And then we get to the main event. In an exceptional match, Jeff Jarrett defeats Ray Gonzalez by submission, and he has defended the NWA World Heavyweight title. He had an in-ring performance of 60. Ray Gonzalez had one of 35. So good heat, or good wrestling, good crowd reaction, good show rating, or good final rating for that match, and a good show rating of 48. So that is great. Let us address the locker room. AJ Styles did pretty good as well. I wasn't paying too much attention to anyone else's stuff. I will praise John Cena because he did a good job. First promo work with another person, he did good. Oh my God, how did we lose that much? Oh, because we're paying for travel, aren't we? Oof. That's a lot of money to be spending, man. That is a ton. Alright. Yikers. Oh, we did go up one, so that's good. Hey, we've made progress. And now I think we might actually have to do something about that. Because if we're paying that much money every time, we might be in a bit of problem. In a bit of a problem. So, I'm actually going to make a brand split. I don't know if this is actually going to matter. Let me edit this. No travel costs. No travel. Alright, no travel for number 1. And number 2 is travel. Or paid travel, I suppose. And I'll come back after I've set everybody up, so you can see, kind of have an idea of who I have to pay and who I don't. So I'll see you at that point. So I've gone through everybody, as you can tell, and here are all the people that I have to pay money for them to travel here. Within a game area, it costs 50. So every time, wait, now that still doesn't make sense though. So yeah, for each one of them, I'm like $50, $50. So $50 across the board. What is taking money? I thought I knew what it was, but I guess I was wrong. So what happens here? Yeah, because none of that should be taking too much money. I am honestly confused. Where's contracts? Right here. Well, I can get a look at the contracts. Oh, is that it? Oh, Jeff Jarrett's making $2,800 a show. Yeah, that might do it. Why is he making that much money? He really shouldn't, all things considered. I only say that primarily because he is a player avatar, so he shouldn't have that much of a contract. So why is he making that much? That's a problem. That is a long-term problem. Because I mean, it doesn't make sense for the owner of the company to be paying himself. Paying himself with what? His own money? Like, that doesn't make sense. Alright, I'm going to fix that. Because, yeah, that cost us probably a ton of money the last 2 weeks. I thought I already fixed that. But I guess I was wrong on what it was before. So, we'll have to look at that next time. But, yeah, that has been the month of June. I will go through and fix it. Actually, I'll do that right here on screen for you, so you'll know what I mean by fix it. Because Jeff Jarrett shouldn't have that big of a contract. Because he's an avatar, he just shouldn't have one that large. So instead, I'm just gonna put it down for 0. And because I mean that's what he should have. He's an avatar. He shouldn't have any unless they change that from in this game. Because in previous iterations of the game, as far as I'm aware, they've never had any contract where they got money if you were the player character and they're the avatar. Uh, so that is weird, but I digress. For next week, we have the one show, which is John Cena versus Daniels. All right, welcome. This is just going to be a quick little addendum at the back end of episode 2 because I have just now realized that yes, they have in fact changed how user contracts worked. Uh, so his pay is equal to it's calculated differently every show. So he's paid every show equal to his estimated value based upon his current stats. So what that means is that even if I were to change it, he is still going to get paid every show by default. So that puts me in a bit of a pickle because I, I finally just got to one experience point. If we can get to 17, we'll be at tiny. Uh, you know, and we're just at a point where we're gonna be hemorrhaging money because Jeff Jarrett costs so much. So yeah, we're gonna have to combat that. We're gonna need to try and make money. So what I said originally was a boon. It's seemed to have actually been a curse. So I'll see you in episode 3. Hopefully, where things get a little better. All right, see you there.